Hi everyone, happy Thursday and welcome to our second live stream, which we will be doing on Thursdays going forward. Right now, this is part 2 of a 4-part series where we're talking about local SEO. I hope you joined us last week. If not, you can find that live stream on our Facebook page, facebook.com/5stonesmedia. Last week we talked about Google My Business pages, and today we're going to carry on that discussion and we're going to talk about the data aggregators that hold the information about your business. So in the United States, there are 4 major data aggregators, and those are Localeze, Infogroup, Acxiom, and Factual. Now, yellowpages.com, CitySearch, superpages.com, and some others, they also play a smaller part in this. But just so that you kind of have an idea of how these data aggregators work and kind of the web of information that's out there, you can see this graphic that kind of shows how all of them are intertwined and how information is shared among each other. Now, this is actually really difficult to read because there's so much going on here. But when we dig into each of the data aggregators, we can get a little closer look. So when we look at Localeze, for example, Localeze, it supplies information to all of these websites that we've got listed here on screen, which you can see include Facebook and yellowpages.com, Apple and Siri, which are probably pretty important to your business. So these are the ones that Localeze is supplying information to. But if we look, we can also see that Localeze gets a lot of its information from some sources that are very similar to that, like Foursquare, TripAdvisor, Yellowbook, and so on. Now, Localeze, again, is just one of the 4 major ones. If we move on to Infogroup, then we can see that it is supplying information to Google Maps and MapQuest and Bing and Yahoo, CitySearch, Twitter. So again, these are sources that are going to be pretty important for your business to have the correct information out there about you. Now, interestingly, if we look at where Infogroup gets its information from, we see that a couple of those sources where it gets its information from is Dexnose and Yellowbook, which those get their information from Localeze that we just looked at. So that kind of starts showing you a little bit of the web where these data aggregators are getting their information from and putting information out to the same sources, and that the other ones are getting their information from. Then as we continue to look, Acxiom, for example, it supplies information to Yelp and Yellow Pages and Superpages, which is where Infogroup and Localeze may get some of their information from. And then Factual, which is kind of new to the game. Not anymore. I guess they're about 5 years old now. But they have become a pretty major player among these data aggregators. And they're supplying information to Yelp and Bing and TripAdvisor and Apple and Siri. So as we go back to that graphic, you can start to maybe see where it makes sense. But there's 2 things that are really important to take a look at on this graphic. Google Plus, or Google Local, Google My Business, is kind of how we'll sum it up, which is the thing that we talked about last week, is right in the middle of this. And this is where you start. Your Google My Business has got to be up to date. Now, as I talk about these data aggregators, you may be thinking, well, how do I make sure that I have the correct information there? Well, you can't just go to these data aggregators' website and upload your information and then get it right. It just doesn't work that way. You don't really have any access to that. They rely on these external sources. But one of the things that you can do to be able to get your information up to them is to use Moz Local, which Moz Local is what we use here at 5 Stones, and we're able to push the information directly to these data aggregators. As we look at this web here, we can see that Moz Local will push information over to Localeze. It'll push it to Factual, it'll push it to Foursquare, to superpages.com, and to Infogroup. So we're able to use Moz Local, who will push this information to these data aggregators But before you can even use Moz Local, they require you to have a verified listing on Google My Business or on Facebook, preferably Google My Business. So I'm going to go over to moz.com/local, and I'll show you kind of how we, just the basics anyway, of how that works. Which Moz is something that you can absolutely do yourself if you have the time to do it. There's a little bit of a time investment because you need to keep checking in on this. It takes a few months for it to actually push all the information out there. But let me just go on over to that website and show you what I'm talking about. All right, so this is Moz Local, which Moz Local, again, is where we can push the information up to these data aggregators. And when you go to moz.com/local, it's going to allow you to check your business to see how accurate your information is. It's going to ask you to enter your business name and your zip code, and I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll do it for 5 stones. So I put in the business name and I put in our zip code and I click on check my business, and it's going to take it just a second. It's taking it a very long second in this case, but I already ran it and have it up here in another tab. So once it runs through, it's got all the information here, and it will show you that our current score is at 93%. It says we can get to 94% while using Moz Local, but we're already using Moz Local. But as we scroll down the page some, it'll show us where we're strong with our listings and where we're weak with our listings. Now at 93%, that's about as high as it usually gets. It's almost impossible to get the listings higher than that. But when you run your business, you may find that you're in the 50% or 60% range. And when you scroll down the page, it'll show you where your weaknesses are. In our case, it shows that Hot Frog is incomplete, but it's been like that for, gosh, over a year now, and it just won't pick up on the information. But anyway, when you look at this, if you haven't already done a Moz Local campaign, you'll be able to see the weaknesses in your online listings. So to go to all of these different directories independently, which, like I said, you can't even do it at the major data aggregators, but to go to the directories like your yellowpages.com and superpages.com and DexKnows and Ask and all these and update your information, it would be hundreds of hours of work to do it, almost impossible. So major part in local SEO is to get all these directory listings as complete as they can possibly be and as accurate as they can possibly be, and Moz Local is a great way to do that. If you don't want to do this yourself, obviously we can help you with it. But next week we are going to be talking about citations, which citations do have to do with these local directories. A citation is basically just a reference to your business from a directory or another website of some sort. So we're going to be digging into that a little bit. And we will continue the path down the basics of local SEO. We're also going to have a different Facebook Live for you next week. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it's going to be about yet. I'm going to give you, keep you in a little bit of suspense on that. But we've got something really exciting to show you that you may find is a very good opportunity for you in your business. And Mark and Rachel are going to be presenting that to you, and I really look forward to that. So keep an eye on our page. We'll also send an email out about that, and look forward to seeing you here again next week on Thursday when we talk about citations. So thank you.